In a Connecticut courtroom on April 1st, 1985, April Fool's Day was no laughing matter. Hi, I'm your host, Susan Langford. Welcome to my Broken Gavel Podcast. Okay, first, forgive me if I trip over myself occasionally. I'm almost 70 years old. So why the name Broken Gavel? Well, Broken Gavel is how I view the justice system when legal scholars engaged in unethical conduct and their actions cause injury to others. In my career, I've investigated multiple broken gavels across the United States, spanning 23 plus years. I'm going to be discussing the details of my career as we move on throughout this podcast series. But for now, I want to talk about attorneys and their power in America. I'm sure most of you already feel that attorneys seem to have higher levels of power and influence than most of us average Americans. And that's true. They do. They have ultimate power over us. Why? Because they write and pass the laws. Just how involved are they? Well, let's explore that. Okay, currently in the United States Senate, 51% of the members are attorneys, along with almost a third of the House of Representatives. And 3 out of the last 5 presidents are attorneys. That's just at the top of our government. I'm sure no one will argue with me when I say that establishes the high level of power attorneys have. So, before we get into just how infiltrated they are throughout society, and where their power exists, let's talk about why they are important to the American structure. The rule of law and the United States Constitution relies on attorneys to carry out the rule of law. That in itself establishes the importance of attorneys. So wherever you go, whatever you do, whatever occupational title you hold, there is great influence behind the scenes on the part of attorneys and their involvement. Now, let's talk about that. The structure of our public school system was created with rules and regulations, which were written primarily by attorneys. When something goes wrong in a school system, the ultimate person deciding on what should happen is dependent on the attorney's advice, with their main focus being on the possible liability of the school district. No rules are changed, no actions are taken without and within the school board before consulting an attorney first. Moving on to entertainment. We all love entertainment, whether it's television, radio, or movies. You have entertainment attorneys. Nothing happens in the entertainment world unless entertainment lawyers are involved. Whether they are working for the actors, the producers, or the studios, nothing happens in the entertainment industry without the involvement of an attorney. Here's another eye-opener. Did you know a substantial number of news anchors are attorneys? This means many of the anchors you see behind the desk on your TV screen on a daily basis are most likely someone with a law degree. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research and get back to me. Okay, so what about sports? My friends know I love football. Go Chiefs! Most people think attorneys are only involved in professional sports such as the NFL, MLB, or NBA. This couldn't be further from the truth. The fact is, attorneys are involved in sports all the way back to public schools, high school as well as grade school. The attorneys look after students and schools to make sure that all compliances are met. One example of that is Title IX. In college, just about every aspect involves attorneys, with contracts between the schools deciding who's going to play whom and at which stadium they're going to play and who receives what share of the broadcast profits. Then you have contracts for the college players to protect their name, image, and likeness. I mean, it's all about money, and when money's involved, you know attorneys are too. Now let's talk about professional sports. The NFL, the NBA, and Major League Baseball all have attorneys. There must be contracts between the players and the organization. Then you have the team owners who want to make sure they're getting the best value for their money and a guarantee the rules can't be violated. It gets complicated because they have to make sure the rules don't violate the players' contracts and the players' union rules. So the attorneys are involved in every aspect of professional sports. You cannot have a professional sports league without attorneys involved. Okay, if I haven't already convinced you that attorneys have ultimate power over the function of our country, then please do your own research and send me an email to langford1susan@gmail.com and let me know what you think. Don't run away, because here comes the most important aspect of my message, and it's all about the structure of the judicial review boards and statewide grievance committees. They're located in every state throughout America and loaded up with, you guessed it, mostly attorneys. Those grievance committees are supposed to sit in judgment of any and all attorneys who are presented to the committees on complaints of unethical conduct for breaking the rules they swore they would obey at the time of receiving a license to practice law. I call those rules a lawyer's Bible, but their legal name is the Canon Code of Ethics and Professional Rules of Conduct, better known on the street as the Canon Codes. Then, of course, each state has a bar association. So, right there, I have a problem with the structure of our judicial review boards / grievance committees, because obviously they're not balanced. The problem I've run into on these boards is you have attorneys governing the actions of other attorneys. And in many situations, the attorneys who sit on these review boards are familiar with the attorney who is being investigated. Often, they attend the same public functions and perhaps socialize in the same circles. These attorneys work in the same courthouses and are, in a matter of speaking, fellow employees. You know, when you work somewhere, the same people collectively are known as your fellow employees. So attorneys working in a courthouse as fellow employees instinctively become very familiar with each other. Perhaps they have lunch in the same courthouse lunchroom. Well, now, here's your wake-up call. Ready? under Nebraska Canon Code 9 of the rule from 1995, it states, an attorney should avoid even the appearance of improprieties in the practice of law. Canon 9 is universal. It may be listed differently in other states. Maybe it has a different number to the rule or even a different letter. However, I assure you that rule under Canon 9 in Nebraska is universal, and it appears in every code book under the Canon codes in every state in the country. Again, I'll remind you, Canon 9 states, an attorney must avoid even the appearance of an impropriety in the practice of law. That's a lot to think about. Okay, here it comes. Right now, every attorney sitting on these judicial review boards, grievance committees, are guilty of violating Canon Code 9. Okay, has it hit you yet? Lawyers governing the actions of unethical lawyers? Violation of Canon Code 9. We're going to be talking a lot more about codes, and we're going to be talking about what we Americans can do about the lack of balance in our system because corruption is out of control. And believe me, people, there is so much we can do. I'm not a lawyer. I don't claim to practice law, but I fully understand the Canon Code of Ethics professional rules of conduct codes. I understand them, and I've used them and applied them for 23 plus years. And I have had success reviewing, investigating, and handling cases one-on-one against unethical attorneys. And if I can do it, then any one of you has the power to do the same thing. My question is, why can't we have properly background checked, properly investigated, non-lawyer American citizens sitting on these judicial review committees throughout America? In my opinion, we can. So for now, I'm going to end this podcast, and I'm going to ask you to tune in again because the next podcast is going to blow your socks off. For now, this is Susan Langford signing out. And don't forget to visit my website at brokengavel.org. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Until next time, take care and stay safe.